Okay, so let's start. My philosophy is that we're here to get the work done, and as soon as we get the work done, then we can finish it and move on to the more important things in life. This is important. I have a dry sense of humor, and it typically misinterpreted. So don't take it too seriously. Once again, for those of you who are online already, I encourage you to turn on your cameras so that I know you're there, and it's easier for me to look at faces when I lecture instead of looking at my own face when when I lecture. All right, so welcome to 698. This is home stretch. All right, I'm sure you are very excited to finish the MPA program and move on to the next phase of your careers, and I'm here to help. Okay, so my name is Dr. Pai. You can call me Dr. Pai and Professor Pai. Okay, that's for friends, and we are this professional relationship, so I prefer that we stay professional for now. So I am the instructor for 698S, and this is fall semester 2019, and you are cohort 211. And like I said, this is the final stage of your MPA program. And I know there are lots of people who are stressed out at the moment, and there's a lot of anxiety. But trust me, if you do the work, I'm here to help, and I'm going to give you all the tools you need to put together this project so that you have to invest effort and energy and time. Right? There's no way around it, but it's not impossible. As a matter of fact, the tools that I'm going to give you a series of worksheets so that we can complete this capstone paper in chunks, in sections. So the entire semester, basically, we are working at one section at a time. And then towards by the first week of November, we'll have to put the whole thing together. All right, because grad division, they are part of this process, and I'll go over this when we look at the syllabus. All right. So my best advice is that stay calm. All right. Last year, I did this course in the fall of 2019, and out of 26 students, 23 finished on time. And there are some who needed more time for whatever reason, but the others, they all finished the next semester. So it is definitely possible that all of us would finish this class on time so that you can graduate by May and get hooded. Right? So I'm gonna do two things. Maybe we'll get to the third thing, right? And it's quite unlikely we'll need until 8 o'clock, all right? Because I understand you have a long day, you just gotta work, and tired, and so I prefer getting things done efficiently and effectively, and then we move on. So the first thing I'm going to do is to take a quick look at the paper that I mentioned earlier. Again, for those of you who just joined us, please go to the Canvas page and then download at least two things. The first thing is the syllabus. All right, so you'll find the syllabus under course information. And then when you download the syllabus, after you download the syllabus, download the fourth item in the course information section under MPA 698S qualitative capstone paper sample. All right. That paper was one of the first to get approved last semester. And I strongly believe in modeling your work after the work that's been produced. It's kind of like, you know, when you learn to cook a dish, if you see a finished dish in front of you, that's great. That's exactly what I need to do. So basically, this is the kind of expectation that the program has on the work that you have to produce, all right? And when I said the program, yes, it's not about me, all right? I have a pretty healthy ego, but when I'm working with the program, it's not about my ego. It's not about me. Is that the program, if you look at the student handbook, the program has a set of requirements. And then my job is to make sure that your work is meeting the requirements so that it gets signed off. Okay? So when I give you suggestions or advice, or when I ask you to do something or some revisions, don't take it personal, okay? Because it's not really a personal process for me. I'm looking at the program and the expectations on you and your work, and trying to do my best job to make sure that your work it's meeting those requirements or demands from the program. Okay. And so the other thing is, as some of you might know, the paper will have to be signed off by a committee. All right? I'm the chair of the committee because I'm teaching this course and I'm your main advisor. So I'm the person who is responsible in helping you to put together this paper so that the other two members of the committee, they will sign off. So we'll figure that, we'll explain how the process works a little bit more, okay? So do you have the paper in front of you, either in paper form or on your computer, okay? If so, let's take a look, right? The title of this paper, it reads thus: the physical contact between children, social workers, worker and families during the assessment and in-person response stage increased child safety in the Department of Children and Family Services in Los Angeles County. It's very, very important to start with a research question, all right? And basically, the title that you are looking at in front of you is something that would guide your project and would make it so much easier if you are able to formulate that research question that is that specific early on in the process. Basically, this paper, all it is, and your capstone project, if you want to start thinking about that way, it involves two things. All right. In the case of this paper that's in front of you, two things: physical contact, and then second thing, child safety. Is physical contact increasing child safety? And that's basically the whole project. All right, and that's kind of how you should think about your capstone process. Identify those two things. How does X affect Y? Right, and once again, in this case, physical contact. Well, not just any physical contact, but physical contact during assessment and in-person response stage. Right, so it's a very simple idea. Right? If the Department of Child and Family Services, right, during the process, does that physical contact in the assessment phase improve or increase child safety when the children are under the care of the department? So start thinking about your projects and phrase your research question in this kind of very simple and relational fashion. And I'll give you, I have posted a worksheet on well, not this week, because we have 2 weeks to do the work. But if you look at week 2, September 4th, there is a worksheet that I've posted to help you sort of think and phrase and frame your research question in this kind of essentially two issues relations. Right? Does something affect something? Does something increase or decrease something? Right? Now, if you look at the rest of the paper, right, basically it's a research proposal. I hope they brief you well to know that you are not doing the real research. Right? You're just proposing, if I were to do a research on this subject matter, how would I approach it? Is it going to be qualitative? Is it going to be quantitative? Where am I going to find the subjects? And okay, week 2, boom, here we go. Thanks for the question. Canvas is kind of annoying, and I get frustrated. Well, I'm not very good. I mean, I'm good at technology, but at the same time, I find technology to be kind of annoying. Now it is, all right? I just unhide it. So you can take a look at week 2. We'll get to that in a second, okay? So basically, throughout the entire process, I'll give you a bunch of worksheets so that you can use the worksheets to put together all the sections of the paper, and towards the end, just boom, right? Put it all together and it's done, all right? If you look at the paper, the sample paper that I was just talking about, first of all, basically the paper, the whole project is about 2 things: physical contact, child safety, all right? And of course, here the idea is that the more physical contact between the social worker and the children during the assessment phase, the more likely the child will be safe during the care of the Department of Children and Family Service. And that's all there is. And the rest of the paper is about, if I want to figure out, if I want to develop a research project to either assess or find out, does it really increase? How am I going to approach that? And again, once again, I'll give you a ton of worksheets and material to help you formulate this research proposal, right? Once again, we are not doing the research. We're just saying, if I were to do this research, how would I do it? Is that through kind of survey question? Do I develop a questionnaire? Or do I want to interview people? Or do I want to do a panel study? How would I approach it, right? And so it's a series of decisions, and my job is to help you figure out what's the best way, or what's the most convincing way to propose this research question, okay? Any questions for now? Anyone?
No.
I'm gonna
yes, Professor, when I see that only week 1 is available, what day of the week will you be making the next week's literature?
Sorry, Ian.
Available?
Yeah, if you could use the chat function, because my computer, the audio quality is pretty crappy. So if you could type the question, that works so much better. Can you hear me? Ian, sorry. Right. Okay. So let's do this one thing at a time. The most basically with when will week 2 be available? Week 2, I just made it available. Okay. So if you look at the Canvas page, everything should be available to you. Okay. And okay. So any other questions? All right, I forgot to introduce myself. Like I said, Ms. Pai, You can call me Dr. Pai, Professor Pai. I help out at the MPA program. My main appointment, I am a full professor at the CJS department at CSUN. CJS, that's Criminology and Justice Studies. So I am a criminologist, right? So that's my main academic appointment. I'm a full professor at the CJS department at CSUN. So professionally, most of my work is in the area of criminology and also criminal justice. I'm starting my 13th year at CSUN, altogether 15 year as tenure track professor. And I started working with the MPA program about 6-7 years ago. And then mostly I teach 620 for them. So research methods. And the whole idea of research methods is to help you go through this process. All right. I'll answer the question in a second, Elaine. What else can I tell you about myself? Right, like I said, most of my work is in the area of criminology and criminal justice. So public management, right, because criminal justice, right, is one of the areas of criminal justice. So it's very much relevant to what I do, and also, yeah. I taught this course last fall, and we had 26 students, and like I said, 23 of them finished the project on time. So, and I've been working also with the MSW program, same thing, helping MSW students with their capstone process. So, I have some insights as to how this process works. And the challenge for us is that there are two main things that we have to do, not only your project, but also we have to deal with the grad division. And the grad division meaning the ETD, the electronic thesis and dissertation system. The ETD, it's not the most user-friendly system, and we'll give them some feedback, and hopefully they'll do some changes. And their deadlines are fixed. Their deadlines, you cannot miss the deadlines, all right? If you miss the deadlines, then everything gets pushed back. And I'll give you a ton of reminders, all right? And so ETD and grad division, they are the other piece of this process, and something that you really want to make sure that you don't miss their deadlines. They are mostly about the formatting of your capstone projects, but that in itself, it's important because they can reject, they have the authority to reject any project that doesn't meet the requirement. It's not rocket science, it's just a lot of formatting stuff and a little bit, I'm annoyed with bureaucratic processes, but it's part of the evil, okay? So when, I got a question from Elaine, when is the topic selection deadline? Yes. Oh, second, another thing, I have to apologize for the confusion, the Wednesday and Tuesday thing, because they said, oh, most of our classes is on Wednesday, implicitly telling me that Wednesdays are better for doing this, but it turns out that there was another class schedule. So we are moving everything by one day, and if you look at the syllabus that is uploaded just now, that everything's been correct. Everything has been corrected to the adjusted date. So the topic selection deadline is, where do you see 9/19? It's on the 10th, as a matter of fact, the 10th of September. And if you look at the most updated syllabus on Canvas, it's due 9/19. The topic selection paper essentially becomes the introduction section of your capstone project, right? And I'll give you, there's going to be, right, 9/19. I mean 9/10, sorry. The last sentence, where is the last sentence? Where do you see the last sentence? Sorry, because I'm dealing with so many different courses and Elaine, could you show me where the last sentence you're referring to?
Yeah, so after it says
I can't. Hold on. Let me grab a pair of headphones.
Okay.
Isn't technology wonderful? Give me 1 second. All right, go ahead, please.
Yes, so after it says moving forward, you will address one of these dimensions, blah, blah, blah. It says due date September 19th. In the topic selection.
It's not working for some reason. It's a computer thing. The headphone is not working. I see somebody, course requirements or assignments. Course requirements and assignments.
I think if you see it right here, so in the syllabus, it's like the very last sentence.
Oh, hold on.
But I think you corrected the dates on here, but I think they're just referring to this part right here.
Okay, right. So once and for all right? So September 10th, topic selection. Okay. So September 10th. If you look at the sample paper that I posted, right, the child contact thing, basically the topic selection paper becomes section 1 of your capstone paper. All right, and in this case, basically, section 1 is 4 pages. All right, so that's how we're gonna do it together. Yes, I understand there is a proposal, and what I'm asking is that you reformulate. It's gonna make it a lot easier for you to put together the rest of the project, because we'll have to think about the method section, right? And that's why I'm asking you to use the proposal as the basis to, of course, for your capstone paper, but also the tools that I'm providing, so that you'll have an easier time in putting together the final project, right? And yeah, if you want to send me your proposal so that I have an idea of what you are thinking, that'd be great. You know, the more information at my disposal, the better. All right. So once again, the idea is that you develop a research proposal based on the idea that you have, right? About an agency, about a process, about something that gets done within public sector, and then how would you research this question? Is it through interview? Is it through some kind of questionnaire? What, right? Yeah, that's the part that's kind of confusing, and we had the same problem last year, right? The proposal that you have submitted is the basis for which you develop the full capstone paper. So nothing is wasted, right? It's the game plan, if you will, the blueprint on your project will happen. Okay. Any other questions on that issue? Does the topic and paper have to be a continuation of a paper we have already written? Now, as far as I know, the program, well, a big part of it is at the match rate, the 15% match rate, which I'll go over in the syllabus. All right. So the issue of match rate is very important, meaning everything that we do gets uploaded to the system of Turnitin.com, and then it gets referenced, right? So yeah, it's technically it's a continuation, meaning you develop the ideas more, okay? So the basic idea, absolutely, something that you have studied before or something you have worked on previously during the program, absolutely, make it develop it some more so that it becomes this research proposal. Okay. However, according to the student handbook, right? Everything that we do in this course, the match rate with Turnitin.com cannot exceed 15%. All right. So the idea is definitely. But there is a problem if some people just cut and paste whatever they have and make it the part of their capstone work, because in that case, the match rate would definitely go up about 15%, right? So yeah, most definitely, whatever you have done in the program, whatever ideas you have, you should think of it as the basis to develop your capstone project. Okay? Does that? Okay. No. It's either way is fine. Either you are developing something that you already have, or if you want to start a set of brand new ideas, that's cool with me too, right? And it's not really that impossible, right? Because I'm sure you have a lot of professional interest and a lot of topics that you have come across in the MPA coursework that somehow interest you, right? So yeah, I think the most important part at this stage is to stay calm and relax. Right? Do good work, but definitely it's important to not overload yourself with anxiety and worries. If you do the work, if you use the tools that I'm giving you, I'm pretty sure you're gonna finish without much problems. Okay. Right. Okay. The Zoom recording doesn't show them. Is that giving a list of the questions being asked? Gabriel, right? Since your audio doesn't work, is there a way we can document these questions for future reference? Now, good question. That's why on the Canvas page I have under today, right? So if you go to the main Canvas page, you will see a discussion link, okay? Under week 1, I should change the date to August 27th instead of August 28th. So any questions that you have, you see discussion, general questions on course requirements. So that's a perfect place for we share to share questions, so that I will read out the questions out loud. Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes it's kind of difficult to do this online thing. It's so weird. Anyways, yes, I will make sure that I read out the questions when I answer them. Okay, and also for those of you who miss anything, go ahead and once again use the discussion the discussion link on Canvas to ask questions, so that everybody is on the same page. Okay. Okay. So once again, if you look at the sample, right? So the student last year, Jacqueline, was interested in knowing whether more contact between the caseworker and the children is going to improve child safety during the assessment phase while the child is under the care of the department, right? So that's a question that it's really interesting and something that is important for departments to learn about, right? And here's the big thing. There is the concept of a research gap, meaning, yeah, we see research here and there, but it's important for, okay. No, it's not wasted work, all right? It's not wasted work, because that's the basis for you to develop your research. Well, the question is, we did a considerable amount of work on the proposal which we cannot use. Well, no, that's not what I'm saying at all. The work, definitely you can use the work to develop the final product of the capstone project, right? So it's not wasted work. And the topic is not irrelevant. It could be definitely the same topic, right? And once again, if you want to send me your proposal, so that we can go through it and take a look at it, then yeah, that can probably work a lot better in resolving this issue, right? Does that kind of answer your question? The topic is definitely not irrelevant. All right? You can definitely stick with the same topic, but it gets okay. Well, why don't JJ? Why don't you send me your proposal and we'll take a look at it, and so that I can have it in front of me to know what exactly you're referring to. All right? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Doctor, and I know your audio is not working, but maybe somebody could help me because I'm listening while I'm driving.
Okay.
The problem is the Turnitin percentage will pick up the work that we've already done, which means that we can't reuse. Even if I reword it, it's going to be so similar to what I've already done that I can't use those resources. I can't use that research. It makes it almost impossible to do the paper.
I understand what you're saying. Now, here's the thing, because if you look at the volume of the final research proposal is much bigger than your initial research proposal, it's going to help with the match rate. All right. So another question from Laura: did we submit our research proposal on Turnitin? I don't know, but I don't have access to your research proposals. So if you want me to, right. So the final, if you look at the final product, right? Because according to department requirements, your capstone paper has to be at least 25 pages. Right? So it's a lot bigger than the proposal that you submitted. So that is definitely going to help with your turn-in rate, okay? Does it help? Right. Okay.
I'll email you my question. Thank you for talking about it, though.
Yeah, of course. No worries. All right. So once again, going back to the sample paper, right? Basically, you are looking at a paper with several sections, and these the sections are you have to follow this format. It's not only for the purpose of research, but also grad division. Okay, grad division, when they look at your final capstone paper, they want to see these same sections. And if you look at page V, the table of contents, right? You are looking at an abstract, and it's basically a reworded, reassembled paragraph, no more than 100 words, summarizing what you're doing in the project. And that's the last thing that we do, all right? So after we figure out the introduction section, and then particularly the methodology, also some of the recommendations with the abstract. And there'll be another worksheet we'll see to help you put together that thing. Inside you have the section 1, introduction, and that will tell, all right? And once again, I'll work help you put together in the introduction section that section. Next section is basic in the project is the literature review. The literature review, we are looking at least 10 to 15 pages. So that requires the most. We have to really look at the existing that put together this review of the existing body of work. Okay. Okay, somebody else has a mic on. Could you turn it off?
I just did. I'm trying to travel.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. If you can mute your mic, great. Thanks. Am I cutting in and out? Elaine, am I cutting in and out? Okay, great. Okay. So the literature review, like I said, and once again, there is a worksheet that's going to help you put together the literature review, okay? And that's the part that you can definitely look at what you have done in your proposal and extract it from the existing work that you have done, and then add some stuff to it to make sure that the literature review is complete, okay? Methodology, it's really how you're going to get the data for the research, right? Basically, we're looking at either a qualitative or quantitative, or if you're ambitious, you can propose a multi-method strategy, meaning both qualitative and quantitative. It's not as complex as you think. And once again, there'll be a worksheet and a checklist that maybe I can give you all the worksheet ahead so that you can take a look at the worksheets and have some ideas. All right, it's not as crazy as it sounds. It's actually rather simple. Okay. Section 4 is the background, and background basically what agency you're looking at, what is at stake, right? Why is this issue important, right? And the scale of an agency, some background information on the thing that you're studying. So once again, the proposal that you have done probably has something that would that you can use in the background section and also in introduction section. Right? Recommendations, we don't have real data, we don't have real results. So what if, right? What if you complete the research? What recommendations you would want to make for towards the agencies to improve the performance and so on and so forth. Right? So it seems a lot at the moment because we're just in the beginning of the process. But if we work on this section by section, then we are actually looking at a series of short papers. All right. Some of the sections, if you look at the sample papers method section, then the method section is 4 to 5 pages. And I'll give you all the terms, all the techniques that you need to or you should consider using. Okay. Any questions? If not, then I'll go through the syllabus so that we clarify how we're going to get this done. No? No questions? Once again, make sure that you're aware of ETD deadlines, okay? Because it's out of my hands. It's not in the control of the instructor or the MPA program. All right. So make sure that you meet the deadlines with ETD. And it's not designed well so that when you submit something, you don't really get confirmation. And there's a great deal of anxiety, when people try to meet the deadlines and then don't get some kind of immediate confirmation. My suggestion is that with ETD, leave yourself time, okay? Because in that case, if let's say the deadline is 5 o'clock on a Friday, you don't want to wait until 4:30, right? Because you'll be wondering, did it go through? If it didn't go through, what's going to happen? So I would strongly suggest that you leave about a day, just in case you can call them up to confirm. It's really annoying, and trust me, as the instructor, I'm not happy with how the system works at the moment. And I understand the program is going to meet with grad division and give them some of the feedback. But what they'll do meanwhile, I'm not sure. Okay? So that's what we have right now, and I'm trying my best to help you go through the process with the least anxiety and stress. Okay? So the capstone project, once again, is a research proposal. So the proposal that you have written right now, the topic, definitely can be used for the capstone paper, right? Or let's say if you weren't happy with the proposal and if you want to develop a different set of ideas, great, right? I'll work with you most definitely, and we'll see how we can use that for your capstone process. Okay. On my end, I am reasonably flexible, and my main concern is for you to meet the ETD deadlines. Okay. So, well, my main concern is 3 things. The content, I want to make sure that the other members of the committee, they would see quality content in your project so that they can sign off. All right. So my job as the primary faculty in this course is to make sure that your work gets signed off with minimum revision. Last year, all the projects, when we got to that phase, the reviewers, the other 2 members of the committee, they asked for very, very little revisions. So I was quite happy about that. And that's my job, to make sure that if they want to see some revisions, the revisions are minimum. right? And again, stress-free, right? So once again, if you look at page 2 of the syllabus, the middle section, the final paper must be at least 25 pages, double-spaced. Formatting is very important in this process. Right? So the fonts, font sizes, margins, everything has to be in accordance to the format as set by grad division. So that's something that's, once again, not the departments, not under the department's control. It's grad division. And it's a standard thing when it comes to thesis and capstone papers and dissertation. When I finished my PhD, I was really annoyed with the formatting stuff, but it's part of what it is, okay? So 25 pages times New Roman, 12.1 inch margin, left align. We'll see a template, right? And that's gonna help you with the formatting stuff. Excluding, so 25 pages, excluding a cover page, table of contents, abstract, and references, all right? It should explicitly apply concepts drawn from MPA core coursework, readings, and professional practice that aid in understanding of the political, social, economic, and managerial factors relevant to context and issues identified in your thesis. I'm pretty sure that's what you have done in your proposal work, and that's my point that I was making earlier, that you can use it to develop the full capstone paper, right? And once again, I strongly encourage you to take a look at the samples that I posted to get a sense of what the final piece looks like, okay? And if you look at the third page, right, the third page, EDD and grad division, right? And I have posted a link to their tutorial, the ETD tutorial, right? So look at the Canvas page, and it's under course information. Right? There's a ETD online tutorial. So when you have a chance, I would strongly suggest you take a look so that you know how it works. And once again, leave yourself time, right? Yeah, don't wait until half an hour or 10 minutes before the deadline, because, well, the other thing is that the internet is internet connection is a weird thing, and if you lose connection or whatever happens, then I don't want any delay, right, in you finishing the work. Attendance and participation, I'm not really taking that too seriously. I'm not going to make sure, I'm not going to check, oh, somebody said something, somebody said something. No, I'm not going to do that. But I do want to make sure that right now when I'm giving these sessions, you are paying attention, because it's important, right? It's important that we're all doing this instead of you off to off to doing something else and missing important information. Okay. So these Zoom sessions, once again, I'm recording these sessions, and they will be posted under the course Canvas page. So for those of you who can't, well, right now we have 25 people, meaning 6 people are missing the session. It's a good idea to try to be here and ask questions, right? So, all right, page 4 in the syllabus, right? So make sure that you understand there are 2 sets of deadlines. The deadlines for this course and ETD deadlines. The deadlines on this for this course, they are designed to help you meet the ETD deadlines, okay? So the first thing that is due on September 10th, that's a topic selection paper. And I would definitely, I think it's very helpful for you to take a look at the introduction section in the samples that I am giving you. Basically, the introduction, and once again, there will be a worksheet, okay, to help you put together the introduction section. That is due on the 10th of September, and then the literature review, that's due October 1st. Research design, that's due October 22nd, and the project proposal, the complete draft, right, is due on November 5th. Now, it's early, I know. It's November. Why are we asking you to finish your complete draft by November 5th? Well, that's because ETD, right? Grad Division, they want a complete draft. Doesn't mean that it's final draft, all right? But they want a complete draft for formatting by November 8th, meaning all the paragraphs will have to be there. The formatting has to be at least close to what you see in front of you in a sample, all right? If there are some problems with the they're not checking content, all right? So once again, November 7th, the ETD deadline, they are not checking the content of the papers, but they want to see all the paragraphs, all the sections and all the paragraphs and all the formatting done, okay? And that's very important, because if you miss any of the deadlines, once again, it's going to be a huge problem, and likely you'll get rolled back to the next semester to finish your work. So, you know, they are not to be missed. And so, what else am I looking at? Any questions for now? Yeah, of course. Yes, you can work ahead, and well, the question is, can we work ahead on the project and finish early? Yes, and that's why I'm thinking that I'm going to. Now, my worry is that well, two things in terms of the formatting and also in terms of the necessary content in each section. That's why I'm going to make all the worksheets available, okay? So that you can, the worksheets are designed to help you put together the sections, and also they are kind of a checklist. So for instance, in the method section, you have to talk about whether the project is a qualitative design or quantitative design, whether what exact method of data collection that you are using. Is it interview? Is it questionnaire or survey? Or is it secondary data? And if you're using secondary data, you have to be quite in-depth in discussing the source of the source of the data to make sure that it's legitimate, right? So that's my concern, to make sure that you each section, your work has all the necessary information in there, so that essentially your other committee members can object, right? I would, yes, I can definitely take a look at the topic. Well, the question is, can we email you our topic proposal so you can give feedback? I would prefer that, yes, you can definitely email your topic proposal. But at the same time, I would also like to see, now if you look at the Canvas page, right? under next week, there is a research question worksheet, right? So I would ask you to, when you email me your research proposal, also use the topic, let me rephrase that, sorry. When you email me your proposal, also email me your research question worksheet, right? Once again, it's important for you to phrase your research question in the form of the X and the Y, because I'm thinking ahead in terms of the method section, what needs to be done, and what is the best way to suggest methods that you want to propose in the capstone paper, okay? And there are some methodological issues that I'm thinking ahead, and sometimes that might need to make some adjustments in the ideas that you have, right? Ginger has a question. When we turn it into Canvas, does it go directly to graduate studies as well? Or is it a separate submission? Good question. ETD is a separate submission, okay? And I'll give you all the information you need. The idea is that when I receive and when your committee, not just me, right? Remember, it's a committee that's reading the work. So when we read the work, then we'll ask you for, that's the revisions. And then the final draft goes to EDD, okay? And I'll give you reminders, absolutely, that you'll receive reminders about ETD. And for us, when you submit your work to Canvas, that's more for the content, okay? For me and also the other committee members, okay? And for EDD, that's for grad division to look at your formatting, okay? Does that answer the question? Hovig asks, should we have phrased the X and Y question within the topic selection assignment? Will we try to match the introduction and background sections in the same paper? Yes, because the X and the Y would help you with the method section. Okay? Rephrasing, it's not developing something from ground up. It's rephrasing the ideas that you have so that it makes it well. For let me finish this question first. The X and Y makes it a lot easier for the later sections in terms of methods, right? For us to figure out the method section. That's why I'm asking, and also simplicity and directness is the best way to do this research proposal process. Okay? And will we try to match the introduction and background sections of the sample paper? Basically, yes, the formats or the content in each section, they are pretty standard, right? Let me unhide something else so that I was going to cover it next week, but so a typical introduction section, basically it's talking about the same things to explain to your readers what the issue is, and then also to provide definitions, right? And then a big part of it is to communicate to your readers what is the scale of the problem. For instance, the sample that I gave, right? Well, how many children are under the care of the Department of Child Services, right? And how many cases of abuse, right? You have to provide something to tell your readers that, hey, this is the problem that I'm working on and it's important. And that's why it deserves a lot of attention, right? So if you look at the introduction section worksheet that just, somebody tell me if you can see the under week 3, September 10th. I have just made it available. And if you can take a look at the introduction section worksheet, right? Basically, that's the content that you should include in the introduction section, okay? And it's a list of items that you definitely should think about in explaining to your readers why the question that you're working on is important. Okay, let me go back to, there are 9 different kinds of papers that the handbook describes. Do you feel the XY framework fits all of those? Now, I was told that we're only doing research proposals. Okay, I was talking to Dr. Manassian and also Anais on that question, right? So I was that the understanding is that you are all working on research proposals, okay? And so that's why the XY thing, once again, it's so important, right? Does that, any other questions? Yeah, sure. Laura asks, I'm not certain mine is a purely research proposal. Maybe I can have a quick consult with you. Most definitely. Okay. Oh, that's the other thing. I also do this Zoom thing individually. Okay. Preferably with a time that works for both of us. Okay. So if there are things that you need to clarify, definitely we can make an appointment and use Zoom as a way of clarifying things, okay? Okay. What else? Okay. Any other questions before I move on? Okay, now going back to the, hold on, let me, all right, so let's take a look at, since it was brought up, oh, by the way, I'll have to reload the research question worksheet because I uploaded a PDF file and I want to give you a Word file so that you can just download it and type on it. Okay, I hope that makes it easier. So let me make sure that you get a Word file instead of PDF. Okay. Give me 1 second. For 211, okay. All right, what I'm doing is that I am uploading a Word file for the research question worksheet instead of a PDF, so that you can just download the worksheet and use it to work on your introduction section. Okay. Research question worksheet. Okay, here we go. Okay. Now, if you look at the research question worksheet, right? Once again, the X and the Y. I'm more than certain that all the ideas that you have, you can find that X and Y in there. It's just a matter of rephrasing it so that you think about the X and Y, think about your idea in terms of the cause and effect, because that's essentially what research is about, right? And we're writing research proposal, right? And so the worksheet is asking you to do a few things. So to, first of all, think about the X and Y. What is affecting what? Like I said, physical contact in the paper. How does that affect child safety, right? In the Department of Children and Family Services. And the rest of the worksheet is asking you to clarify to yourself. It's a thinking process, right? What is the X that you are talking about? So in the example, we are talking about physical contact between social worker and families, right? And that's a clear definition. And because the definition goes into the introduction section, right, to tell your reader what is it that you're investigating in the research. Same thing with the other variable, right? Y, the Y, not Y, but Y, the X and a Y. Child safety. Child safety in the Department of Children and Family Services of Los Angeles County, right? And in that case, I was able to advise this student that, hey, you might want to consider using interview, right, as a process in collecting data in the method section, because that might work best in finding information on this issue of of contact and child safety. Right? The rest is relatively straightforward if you are able to nail down and identify the two things that you are trying to figure out and the relationship. Okay? So I'll definitely, yeah, if you want to send me your proposals, I would definitely suggest that you take a look at a worksheet and see if you can rephrase some of the ideas you have, or I'm pretty sure some of the topics you can just straight on, use the same X and Y format in thinking about your topic or question that you're working on, okay? And any questions? Any other questions? I know this phase, this stage, there's a lot of confusion, particularly the fact that you have a proposal that you've written, and then how do you make that into part of your final capstone paper? Last year, same level of anxiety, the same questions that that we have, but most of the projects, they're able to use the same ideas and rephrasing some of but particularly in the literature review process. So nothing is going to waste, right? Okay. Any other questions? Now, let me just say one more thing about the research question. Most of the time, we think in very broad terms, right? And most of us don't think about the research methods when we think about the research question. The reason why I'm asking you to rephrase some of the ideas is that I'm keeping in mind, I'm thinking about the research method section, right? So that in what way can you produce the most focused research questions so that you have the easiest time to work on the method section, okay? So that process might require a little bit of trimming, a little bit of rephrasing, and it's you know some of you might think you're wasting your work, but I guarantee that it's not work wasted in any way. One more thing. Last year and the year before, the biggest complaint from the committee, not just me. Once again, you are looking at the committee, all right? We all want to see stronger writing among our students. The work that we see, we need to see that the writing is at the graduate level. Now, under support material, if you look at Canvas, right? I have included some resources to try to help you make sure that your writing is at the graduate standard. So if you look at the Canvas page under support material, there is a link to academic writing, and then there's a link to research and citation resources. Trust me, grad division, they are very, very, very particular when it comes to citation formats, okay? APA, APA, APA. If they see something they don't like, then they'll let you know, right? And you have to be in compliance, right? It's not us, it's not me, it's not, that part of it is not even, well, the committee, yes, will review your formatting. But grad division, they are very, very, very strict on that, okay? So APA format, make sure that you are in compliance. And then I've also included links to the University Writing Center and walk-in tutoring center, all right? Vast majority, including yours truly, we are not naturally born to write academically. Right? Academic writing is a very specific thing, and it's a weird, weird, weird way of thinking. But it makes sense because the audience that you have, and also the way that the argument is being made. So I've included 2 links. The University Writing Center. You can bring your drafts and work with somebody. It's important in your writing to have somebody read your work because we have our thoughts, right? I'm doing that all the time. I'm thinking, and I'm thinking. And so when I write, it's just coming from me instead of a reader. When a reader reads your work, it might not be as clear as you assume your writing to be, right? So the Writing Center, it's a very important and useful resource for you to get your writing improved, right? So that you have somebody read your work and help you improve the work that you have in front of you. And it's very, very important, right, for you to use that resource. However, that means that you have to get your work done early so that you have enough time to consult with the Writing Center or an academic tutor, right? So definitely use these resources because that's one of the major complaints from from the committee. Do we have an online system for those of us who don't live close to CSUN? I think the Writing Center, they can do a Zoom session with you. Okay? I'm not sure, but I think that last semester somebody used Zoom with Writing Tutor. Okay? I mean, nowadays, you know, that's kind of what we need to do because and the fact that this is an online course. Okay? But good writing. Good writing, it's difficult to just rely on somebody to read and copy edit your work for you. Good writing, it's from the writer, okay? Oh, yeah. Somebody commented on my cat. This is one of them. They're curious as to why I'm talking to a computer for more than an hour. No name. She doesn't have a name. She's a cat. Doesn't mean that I don't like her. It's just that, you know, she's a cat. And yeah, she has loads of character. Anyways, August. Okay. Cool. So, okay. Let's see. A big part of it is to narrow your ideas into a questions that is suitable for research. Okay? I might as well go through this section. Because most of the problems that we think, or most of the ideas we think are very, very broad. No worries. Yeah, we get sidetracked. I mean, that's what cats are for. They distract you and they, yeah. Anyways, yeah, I'm working on my computer and all of a sudden she sits in front of me and showing me her butt. And it's like, okay, do you mind? Anyways, so once again, if I'm giving you advice or asking for a revision on your research ideas, that's not because I think your ideas are not good. That's not what I think at all. I'm thinking whether the research question is suitable for a method section, okay? And that's why I keep asking people to be specific and narrow down the research question. If you look at the example, right? All the examples, they are very, very specific. This one, 2 things. Physical contact, no ambiguity, right? No ambiguity. Does the appearance of the cat cause the students in a Zoom session to get distracted? I would, good, that's a very good research question, right? But I would say make it even more specific, to phrase it as increase or decrease, right? Because that would help you to really laser in and identify your thinking in understanding the appearance of the cat and distraction. Again, X and Y, right? Appearance of the cat, distraction. So does it increase or decrease, right? That's how you phrase it to make it easier for you to think about the research method section, right? Good job. And that's actually exactly what we are thinking in those terms, right? So going back to the sample paper, 2 things, physical contact and child safety. I would suggest that, I haven't looked at your research proposals, but I'm sure that you can find that 1 thing in your research or 2 things in your research proposal to help you get that specific, right? Huh? Okay, let's see, Hobig. My project proposal was more generic based on the instructions guidance. My understanding is that I should make a specific X and Y question that I can develop a methodology. Absolutely. If you think about instructor's guidance, right? Find that 1 thing in instructor guidance. 1 or 2 things in instructor guidance, right? Because instructor guidance could be very broad as a topic, right? The difference between a research topic and research question is that a research question is so specific that the X is right in front of you. See what I mean? Because instructor guidance could involve many, many, many things. Could be a broad area, right? And different strategies and different methods. And so under instructor guidance, find out one or two things. Okay. For instance, decrease class size, right? Increase advising time allocated, increasing or sorry, time for advising as a part of guidance strategy, right? And then what's the why? Is that student performance or some kind of outcome, right? So it's definitely within the XY thing, but the trick at this point is to narrow down and make it very specific. Right, that could be question, right? Minutes spent with students one-on-one with instructors. Well, yeah, that is an example of how to be more specific within the topic of instructor's guidance, right? Or what I was thinking is that, well, for instance, teachers, instructors, they are supposed to spend 8 hours or how many hours? What if we reduce instruction time but increase advising time, right? Does that improve student performance, right? Again, that is an example of how to become much more specific in identifying that X and how it affects the outcome, student performance, for instance, right? And performance and something else. What else? What are the examples that we can think about? Now, part of it is that we have to identify the research gap, meaning what has not been thoroughly studied, right? So a topic that is way too common might risk being too typical, that you have way too many existing research out there, right? But I would suggest that you don't get overly anxious about that, because we'll find the research gap. We'll find the research gap and we'll figure out how to make your research question unique. Okay? What else? So part of it, a big part of it, is to make it specific. Okay? Is to make sure that you are very clear on exactly what you're studying. And then the rest is just figuring out whether you want to use questionnaire or interview or what. And remember, we are not really doing it. It's not like you have to really go out there and interview people. It's not like you have to create a full questionnaire. Well, the committee members will ask you to come up with a few questions that you want to include in either your interview or your questionnaire. But that's pretty much it, right? If you were to do your interview, first of all, whom would you interview? Why are they the ones that you want to interview, right? In this case, yeah, instructors, right? Or if you want to study it from the student's point of view, that's cool too, right? So there are many, many, many possibilities, and that you can definitely, make it. I mean, fun is a strong word, because this is work, but make it not as boring as it can become, right? So, what else? Yeah, so this week, right? How about we do this? Definitely work on the X and the Y, all right? And what we just did, right? So instructor guidance in the form of time, right? Time allocated to student advising. Make it specific. Make it something that is directly measurable, okay? Instead of guidance, guidance is very broad. It's very abstract, right? But if we are talking about time, then we can actually measure, right? And same thing with the Y, student outcome. Well, how do you measure student outcome? Well, maybe we're talking about dropout rate or student dropping out, or maybe we're talking about test scores, right? So let's do this for this week and use the worksheet that I just posted on Canvas, all right? And at this point, we don't need to use Turnitin yet. So definitely you can just do the XY exercise using the research question worksheet and send it back to me. And once again, I'm asking you to do this not to waste your time, right? Not to repeat the work from your proposal, but to really make your proposal and your ideas much more specific so that it's directly conducive to the methods part, okay? So any other questions? Well, the message, the question is it best to email you with a message through Canvas? The message gets forwarded to, well, don't worry about the required readings part, because at this point, you know, the well, that's why I'm using all the worksheets so that you don't have to buy another book. Okay? But if you need some kind of textbook to help you with the methodological part, methodological section, I can definitely help you with it later on. So don't worry about that for now. So to clarify, there is no required readings for the course. Okay? And the class schedule mentions discussion boards. Right, discussion boards, it's just for all of us to ask questions. Let's say after the Zoom session and you're working on stuff and all of a sudden you have questions or thoughts, then you're more than, you're encouraged to use the discussion links, right? Just like this week, under this week, we're looking at general questions on course requirements. So anything you want me to clarify, then we can just use that to make sure that everybody's on the same page, right? And then what's the next question? Don't worry about a small group thing, because that's usually for face-to-face cohorts. Week 5, deliverable. Let's just, I forgot to delete that part, so don't worry about it. But make sure that you are following all the deadlines under assignments, okay? So for this week, all right, for this week, work on the research question worksheet and send me your proposals. Okay? Send me your proposals and your research question worksheet so that we can make sure that you know, you are getting starting on the right foot. Any other questions for now? The X and the Y, it would be easiest if the X and the Y both have some kind of official definition. Okay? So, well, work hours or hours on advising. Right? Advising has official definition. And that's the easiest to phrase the research question using those definitions, and also explain those definitions in the introduction section. Right? Let's see. Oh, right. Email. You can email me directly or through Canvas. Doesn't really matter because Canvas it forwards the email to me. Okay. But for attachment, if you have anything to attach, then I would suggest emailing directly to me is easier. Okay. What else? Okay, so how about all drafts being emailed? Yes, you can email me. All the proposals and all the XYs, the research question assignment, you can just email me directly. Okay? There's no need for us to use Turnitin at this point, and so we are in the process of working on stuff. So if you just email me, that would be great. Okay? Again, I'm here to help. Okay? I'm here to help. I'm here to make sure that you get through the process with the least amount of tears. Hopefully no tears. I don't think tears are necessarily a part of it. It will require some work, but I'm here to help. Okay? So yeah, keep me posted and email me and whatever to, and I think that's the best way to start. How was that? Okay? Okay, so if nothing else, then I guess we'll end here. All right? So you guys have a pleasant evening. Take care.